Well, it's a beautiful day and I'm going to go for a ride. What a blessing it is. Well, is that the term in which we should be using blessing? You know, it's been a word that the world has adopted over the last few years, I guess, and it could mean anything from you have good fortune, you're fortunate in something, you've gained something, or is it just luck? I mean, I get caught sometimes between, I don't like to use the word luck, but I get caught between using it at times, between that and blessing. I try to use blessing because, well, let me tell you why I'd rather use blessing. Luck is random chance, and do things happen in God's world by random chance? Well, there might be some things related to the world, there is, I guess, but is that what it actually means when we use the word blessing? You see, blessing is a biblical word. That's where it comes from. So when we use blessing, it should be related to something, I guess, biblical. I mean, if I consider that myself blessed because I'm going for a ride in the sun, is someone not blessed? In other words, do they not have God's favour because they can't do that? I mean, we have, in today's time, drugs, penicillin, electricity. If we go back 200 years, there was no electricity, no antibiotics. Does that mean that we're more blessed now than people were 200 years ago? Well, it just doesn't make sense, does it? The word blessing comes from the Koine Greek language, which the New Testament was written in. It's a word called Makarios. And it means bliss or happy. But it also has a deeper meaning, depends on its context and where it is used. And what the deeper meaning is self-contained bliss. So in other words, nothing externally that gives you happiness, but internally. And then, as always, when we look at the Bible, when we look at using what speaks about God, we have to look at Jesus. Now, Jesus used this word quite a bit, and we know that in Matthew 5 from the Beatitudes. Jesus goes through these 10 different understandings of blessed are, and he uses things like those who are poor or poor in spirit, those who mourn, those who are meek, but he also uses it in other examples like righteousness and pure heart. You know, I somehow relate the understanding of blessing to an image of Manhattan. You know, the Manhattan image where it's just a picture of buildings and it's high and low. You know, it describes the Manhattan scenery, you know, from the ocean. Well, is that how blessing is handed out by God? Is some receive more than others? Small buildings represent only a small amount of blessing, but the tall buildings, but some get a heap of blessings? Well, I don't think that's the model at all. God blesses everybody in their lives. And I think when we look at the Manhattan image as blessings, we shouldn't be measuring from the top, who has the most, but from the bottom. You see, all those buildings are built on the same level. And some receive this high and others are this high. It doesn't matter how much blessing you get, we are all blessed the same by God because it's all built on the same foundation of God. You know, when we look at Jesus' blessed statements in Matthew 5, the Beatitudes as they're known, a lot of them say about what we should be doing, about the way that we should act. And all those actions really relate to one thing, and that is to follow these different types of actions, to be meek, humble, righteous, it obviously draws us closer to God. That is how we become in a closer relationship with God. So blessed isn't about luck. Blessed isn't about good fortune, how much fortune you have, because at sometimes in our life we all have fortune. Blessed is about what do you do that draws you closer into a relationship with God. And if you're doing something that does that, you are blessed. You are blessed because it brings you closer to your Creator, to the one that sustains you. And that could be any action. Jesus just gives us examples of the way to be able to do some of those actions. I say to you now, seek God. Whatever ways that God calls you to use. But again, a blessed or a blessing response is one that has brought you closer to God. Let me pray. God, we thank you that you do call us, and in different ways than the world does. But God, may you continue to bless us by drawing us to know you better. We thank you for today and the things that you have given us today. May we look with a different light of looking at blessings, God, as a way of getting closer to you. And they are your response, given to us through faith, to know you better. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. So, it's a blessing for me to go for a ride, because when I go for a ride, I start to think about God. And for me, that's a blessing. Have a great day.